Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today basically what I will be discussing is really the difference between exec search and recruitment, so executive search and recruitment, covering the salary, so the pay, the roles themselves, the longevity, because if you guys don't know, turnover in recruitment is quite high, and the requirements, so how to get a job basically. I just have my phone here just with a couple of bullet points, to be honest, not even much at all, but just a few prompters. Starting off with, should I just get into straight what people want to know? No, well, wait a second, because people probably want to know the salary, because to be honest, when I joined, that's what I wanted to know, because there's a few blips which they don't try to explain to you early enough, I feel. But in essence, there is a difference between exec search and recruitment, and the main thing is around like the length of the process and how much in detail one goes into and one does not. So I would say for recruitment, the process is a lot shorter, it's a lot faster, it's quick wins, tend to be working on less senior roles, and yeah, there's just not as much, I guess, not much research work into the mapping, into the writing of reports, into like the way we present to the clients, the type of, because there's different types of reports. I think in my last video I mentioned about candidate reports, reference reports, but then there's also, you have your long list, you have your short list, you have all these other kinds of lists. But yeah, there's just different ways that we present things to clients that I didn't do in my firm, at least my previous firm, in recruitment. So that would be the main difference, I would say. Now, when it comes to the roles themselves, so there is a difference in the two spaces. Within recruitment, there are a lot of little jumps you can make, which of course makes you feel like you're improving. There's just a lot of steps you take. Like you join as, let's say you join as a graduate trainee or graduate recruitment consultant, something right along those lines of graduacy. Graduacy, lol. And then you become a recruitment consultant, and then you become a senior consultant, you become a principal consultant, and then yeah, so on and so forth, team leader. It depends on which route you're trying to take as well, whether you're trying to continue billing and just really just focus on your own earnings, what you bring in, versus on the other side where you want to be more on the team building side of things, to become a team leader and those sort of functions. So yeah, there's just different paths there within recruitment. Whereas within exec search, there aren't as many intervals, which is what I think is actually lacking in this industry. So you become an analyst is when you join. I guess you can have an internship. I think that's becoming a bit more common. So an internship, an analyst, an associate or a researcher, depending on the company or the organization you're in. It could be called a researcher instead of an associate. I prefer an associate. I just prefer the word, to be honest, the title itself. So an associate, a senior associate, and then you go into the consultant route, or you go into more researcher route. So you don't actually have to become a consultant at all within exec search if that's not what you prefer. You might prefer to just continue on the mapping of candidates and just grow in that sense. You don't want to have the whole client interaction. That's another thing that's very different between the two worlds. So within exec search, you don't have the same reign, the same hold on clients as you do in the recruitment world. The recruitment world, you're the one literally doing from point A, all the way to point Z, right? So you're literally managing the whole process by yourself. Of course, you have your manager there to guide you. Whereas within exec search, you actually also have someone else you're working with as a consultant who has the relationship with the client. and you yourself, you're mainly focused on that front end, that mapping piece, and really finding the candidates and delivering on that side. And they have the client relationship, they have to uphold that and maintain that relationship. So in the recruitment world, your sole client is your client. In exec search, your client is your consultant and the client. So slightly different there. So that's that. But I think the longevity in general in executive search is just greater because, well, when I say longevity, I mean in terms of turnover. So turnover of people coming and going. I feel it's longer because maybe they incentivize a bit more. Can I say that? Because in recruitment, there was a lot of incentives in the organisation I work for personally. But I think because of the salary, you feel more comfortable in exec search from the get-go. Whereas within recruitment, your salaries are a lot lower. And so you have to get in the work, basically, be able to get in commission, which then can put you to the same ranking or same earning level, same earning potential as exec search. But in some cases, and probably a lot of cases, you may not reach that level as well. So that's something to take note of. So within exec search, that's probably why there's less speed in terms of turning over. But there is still a turnover, but I think it's a bit more normal to the working normal world that's not sales and recruitment. Within recruitment, turnover was really, really, really high, at least what I experienced, which can make you feel uncomfortable. But if you find the right organisation for yourself, if you really strive in that and work really hard, I think it's definitely achievable. And that's how I managed to stay there for 4 years. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time, but it can become quite stressful, quite daunting, because if you have a few weeks, a few months of not hitting your target, you can, and you probably will feel the pressure, you will feel the pinch. Whereas exec search, because the processes take longer, on average take like, let's say 3 months, to fill an assignment, it's not the same. Whereas in recruitment, they want you to fill that search within that same month, really. That's the ideal. So yeah, that's kind of the difference there. In terms of salary, I'm gonna give you tips to how I found my job and how I actually helped myself. So maybe this could help you as well. What I do when I get into the process of finding a job and I see a company I want to apply for and they're not stating the salary, which they often don't, I just look on Glassdoor. So an example is I literally just search average salary of this role in this company, and you might have to specify the location. So you could say in London, for example. So just to give you a range, within recruitment, this is recruitment in general, the average, this is from Glassdoor, so check out glassdoor.co.uk. The average salary for a recruitment consultant in certain companies, this is not for all, I just search for a specific company, I won't say which one it is, but it's roughly £24,250 per year. In comparison, you can look into exec search, and if you start off as an analyst in exec search, you could be earning somewhere between, let's say, 29k to 35k per year in London. And like I said, this is a specific company I'm looking at, but it's just to give you a rough range. Whereas for an associate, the range actually changes quite drastically between 38,000 to 72,000 pounds per year. For a senior associate, it's between 60,000 to 98,000 per year. And looking at consultant salary, this is just very broad as well, but looking at somewhere between 123,000 to 132,000 pounds. This is gross, so I'm not talking net, I'm not talking after tax. I'm talking before taxation, that's the rough salary for all these roles. So you can see the difference. Coming in as a recruitment consultant, around 24k compared to coming in as an analyst, you can see already that there is, a slight shift in terms of the earning potential. The difference is within recruitment, basically in contingent world, so which is where you're hiring for contractors. They give in their timesheets at the end of the month and you get a certain percentage yourself, the company gets a certain percentage, the rest of it goes directly to the contractor who's actually working, right? So that means that at the end of each month, you'll be getting more than just your base salary. You'll be getting per contractor that's working, and you actually are involved in the negotiation for that contractor. So it's never, or at least from my experience, it's never the same exact amount. But of course, you have to look into your own company and see what the situation, what the structure is there, because there are different structures for payments as well in terms of commission structure. But that means that overall you could earn a lot more than what an analyst gets in a year, and at the same time you could still end up actually earning less than what an analyst gets in a year in exec search. So it really just, it's very dependent on that. It depends on your style, depends on you as a person. If you are more salesy, then you might actually prefer recruitment. So the sales piece there, because it's on you. Whereas exec search, if you're a bit more like, you enjoy going to the nitty gritty, the details, that's where you actually find more joy, more pleasure, then exec search might be the one for you. So that's how I would describe it personally. But that was just the tip in terms of looking for salaries. I always look at what the rough range is, just to see what should I be expecting. Is it within my expectations? Am I way below or way above? Of course, if your expectations way above, then maybe that's not the right company for you, and look for another company and see what their range is. Also to compare, see what the industry standard really is, because that company could be paying way less than others. I think that's the general. Let me just see. Okay, how to get a job, the requirements then. So I haven't covered that. In terms of requirements, within exec search, they are quite, at least from what I've experienced, it's maybe different, bear that in mind. But a degree in a specific sort of subject, the degree level you got, the grade you got, and in terms of your background, your experience prior is something that they do look at. Coming into exec search, you don't need to, as far as I understand, have prior recruitment, exec search, whatever experience. You don't need to. You can start from ground up, as mentioned, as an analyst. But they do look at your studies. They do look at your university degree. From what I've seen anyway, this may depend. This may be because of the organisation I work for, but within recruitment, I worked with a lot of people who didn't have a degree and who went straight into working after their A-levels. A-levels, for other people who don't know, that's our version. Those are the last couple of years you do at school before you go into university. Let me think, is there anything else I really wanted to cover? Yes, so another thing I did forget to cover is the recruitment process. Not you working in recruitment, but in terms of you getting a job. I think I touched on this briefly in the last video as well, in my day in the life in exec search. But basically, for a job in recruitment, what I personally had to do was a telephone interview with a recruiter. Then I went in for an assessment centre. Then I had an interview with, I think it was my manager to be. But I didn't have that experience because I think I've mentioned this before, my background is specific chemical engineering. So I was pretty much in a direct path, or on a direct path of movement, whatever you want to call it. But for others who don't have a specific path within that company, you don't have already that background, You may have multiple interviews with different managers and just basically see where you could be best suited and best seated in the organization. After that, you have or at least I did, I had an interview with the director, and after that was the end. So for me, it was a 4-step process in that sense. Whereas in exec search, I had 8 interviews. I believe other people I know of have had like up to 10, up to 12 interviews. Quite a long process. Basically, what happened for me is I met every single person in my team. I had to interview with all the consultants. I had to interview with the head of research. I had to interview with the office manager. I had to interview with a lot of people, okay? As mentioned before, if you have any questions, anything specific, feel free to always reach out to me. So comment in the comment section below, or see in the description box for this video, you'll see ways to contact me, because I have a podcast, so you can actually DM me that way. I'll probably add a few nuggets at the end of this video as well. Just a few things that I wish I knew when I joined. Number 1. Oh my gosh, how can I forget? So when I joined recruitment, I saw this thing called OTE. I didn't know what it was. Silly me, didn't just ask people I knew who were in sales just to understand what it really meant. But basically it stands for on target earning. And in essence, that's not what you get when you first join. I thought that's what I was gonna get. So when I saw the salary, I was like, oh, that sounds like a bit of me. I think when I joined the firm I was at, it said OTE, so on target earning of 40k. Did I get 40k when I joined? It's painful, guys. But yeah, so don't be fooled by that. Yeah, it gets people in. Some people do get up to there, but it does take a minute. You won't be earning that when you first join. That's what they didn't tell me. So let me tell you guys something that I wish I knew when I joined. Number 2, they will say that you're part of a family. A lot of companies do that. Don't be fooled. You're not a family. I think it's personally a gimmick. It's a tactic to make people stay longer. It works. It really works. But just know that unfortunately you can be replaced. Yeah. Number 3. Work-life balance is not always the easiest, but try to find a way to set boundaries early so you have some of your evenings to yourself, and definitely your weekend. Well, of course, if there are, urgent assignments, take that with a pinch of salt, but it shouldn't be every week, it shouldn't be every night. So yeah, learn that boundary quite early on. Number 4. If you are someone diverse like myself, of course I'm a black woman, do learn about the diversity and inclusion initiatives in that company. See, generally what I did is I looked at the LinkedIn and just saw, okay, what's diversity looking like there? See who they've recently hired, see who's part of their leadership team, a part of the role, the level you are joining at. I think that was actually something quite key, something I didn't think to do in the past. I will speak to you guys in my next video though. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.